Hello and welcome to another part of the Open Journey. If you haven't watched this series yet, here's what it is about. The Open Journey is a video series where I go over different open source game of any genre which I'd like to present to you or find the need they deserve a lot more advertisement. Each video is available in English and German. Also each video is cut down into several parts. An introduction, you're listening to right now, about the game, technical details, some background information and a personal rating of each game from 0 up to 5 stars. Higher is better. And last but not least, bare gameplay with no commentary by me. Enjoy! Today I'm going to present to you Zero AD. Zero AD is a 3D real-time strategy game focusing on historical battles. It is developed by Wildfire Games, a global group of volunteer game developers, and the game mechanics are comparable to Age of Empire. You take control over an ancient civilization, gather resources, build, do researches, build up a military force, evolve your civilization to a global empire and defeating your enemies. The actual time period, which the game is focusing around, did never actually exist, even though it makes use of ancient civilizations such as the old Greeks. In fact, the game is focusing about great civilization around 500 BC to 500 AD. Zero AD features multiple playable cultures: the Catalanian Empire, Britons, Gauls, Athenians, Spartans, Macedonians and many more. Currently the game only features a skirmish map mode, but a campaign mode is also planned according to the main menu, but is not ready yet. Some huge gameplay differences to Age of Empire are that even military forces can be used to gather resources, construct buildings and also combat experience per unit. This means as more battles a particular unit fights and survive, as more experience it gets in following battles. This is a very nice feature considering some speed rush tactics on some commercial RTS we might know. StarCraft. Sorry. This means on the other hand that even if you have more manpower but less experience, you will most likely lose against a more trained and experienced enemy force. Another major key difference to Age of Empire, if we want to keep this comparison, are technological trade-offs. This means by inventing some technologies, you will lose access to some other inventions. And by this not enough, Zero AD even features a nice map editor for your wildest imaginations in a landscape drawing like edit mode. Technical details. Zero AD is available for Linux, Windows, macOS and is written in C++. It is based on a self-developed engine called Pyrogenesis, which is open source too of course and released under the GNU General Public License version 3. While the game assets are released under the CC BY SA Creative Commons license. The engine is built against SDL and Boost, as well as OpenGL for your visual pleasure and OpenAL for the sound experience. It also makes use of JavaScript as an internal scripting language using SpiderMonkey. Buildings as well as units are described using XML and JSON files. Zero AD also features a peer-to-peer online multiplayer mode, but a multiplayer lobby, master server, is also available and hosted by Wildfire Games themselves. This gives the players the opportunity to host and join games using this lobby instead of rely on emails or social networks. Background. The game was originally designed to become an Age of Empire 2 mod in 2000, but later on was built as a standalone game in 2003. Its source code and assets were not always open source, but became such in 2009 as well as the engine became. The current latest version, at the time I made this video, is version Alpha 23B with the codename Kenwood. It was named after Ken Wood, one of the elite developers of Zero AD, who sadly passed away in 2006. Wildfire Games is financially supported by donations by the community, which are managed by the Software in the Public Interest Inc., while the development is taken care of by unpaid volunteering developers. On the 20th October 2013 a crowdfunding campaign was initiated on Indiegogo to fund one full-time developer for the game and the campaign mode if $160,000 would have been reached, which did sadly not happen. The crowdfunding campaign only achieved $32,000, but a full-time developer was not employed yet. And finally, to conclude this part, I like to give my personal thoughts and a rating about this game. The game has very nice visuals, it plays very nice. The AI is one of the best I ever came across in a lot of RTS games. The historical settings is nice too and fits very well. The game features a lot of high quality 3D models and the performance is very well in the most parts. It seems to be very stable and bug free. And also the game features solid online matches with multiple players at once, and also I really like the lobby and the way you can establish peer-to-peer connection via this lobby or master server. What I miss on the other hand is the campaign mode, since I'm not an online competitive gamer and I'd like a good single player campaign over online matches. Performance drops significant if a lot of units are alive, even if they are not on screen and just somewhere in the background. The multi-core utilization could be a lot better, especially since it is an RTS game and AI logic could be very nice done in multiple threads. But besides the things I mentioned, I have not much negative to say about Zero AD and will grant it 5 out of 5 stars, and the game isn't even finished yet. With this said, I wish you a lot of fun with the rest gameplay. Enjoy!
Yes, see? DST? Proszę. DST? Proszę. Proszę. DST? 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 Proszę. Proszę.
Ascoltami. Relaxame.
DST? Proszę.
TSD. Visome. Ascoltamo. TSD. Relaxame. TSD. Relaxame. Ascoltamo. Relaxame. TSD. Relaxame.
DST? Proszę. DST? Proszę. 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 Proszę.
Rosboloman!
Proszę. 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 DST? Proszę. 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 DST? Proszę. Proszę. DST? Proszę.
Ascoltamo.
DST? Rosso. 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 DST? Rosso.
Esplícame. Siléxame.
DST? Rosso. 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 DST? Rosso. DST? 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 EST?
PST? Yeah, no. PST?
EST? Russell.
TST. TST? Titel some.
EST? 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 EST?
Yeah, no.
TST.
Relax a minute. TST.
EST? Russell. EST? Russell. EST? EST?
Let's shoot them. Relax a minute.
EST? Russell. EST? EST?
TST. TST.
Some.
Relax a minute. TST. Relax a minute.
TST.
Forever. Yeah, no.
TST. Yeah, no.
EST? Russell. Russell. EST? Russell. Russell. EST? Russell. 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 EST? Russell.
Rasputin.
Relax a minute.
EST? Russell. EST? Russell. EST? Russell. EST. Praso. Praso. EST. Praso.
TST. Siapno.
Siapno. Siapno. Siapno. TST. TST. Tamu.
EST. Praso. EST. Praso.
Horevome.
Visome. Vesputamu.
Horevome.
Tiesti. Praso.
Tiesti. Siachno.